Back row minister, the world premiere. Mr. Moxley coming at you live and direct from the Fresh to Death Kia Optima studio. So, a lot of things going on in the news. I won't even get into the cave story yet because there's a lot of research, a lot of stuff I have to break down with the cave story. The cave, there are biblical references about the cave in both the Quran and the Bible, the story of the cave. So we'll break that down a little bit later. The cave story and the soccer team mysteriously coming around the time of the World Cup. We see this story about soccer team gets caught in a cave where they have to do underwater scuba diving to go get them. But nobody's answering the question of how this soccer team got into the cave in the first place. And this is the second real big event that has really affected the Thai people from Thailand. Remember, the plane was missing. I think that was a Thailand plane that came out of Thailand that disappeared. So second mysterious event involving people from Thailand, or the country of Thailand. We won't really get into the cave. A lot of gematria in that story. A lot of people are breaking down the story of the cave and why the symbolism of this cave at this time, especially during the World Cup. But I want to talk about the tariffs. We had tariff wars. The destabilization of the global market is beginning. Trump is the man to come in and fuck up the global market and the economy system as we know it, as we prepare to move in a one world economy. And a lot of people laugh about this, but the truth is a lot of people don't understand economics, trickle down economics, all the words they throw. Economics in general. People don't understand economics. You still think that there are people who have told me that they're going to bury money under their bed and keep it there, and in 40 years it's going to be worth something. In 40 years, money is not going to be worth anything. There won't be any paper currency to use. Paper currency is going to be a thing of the past. It's not going to be, the dollar's not going to be worth anything. Everything is going to be on this credit system. That's why we're moving to chip technology, phone technology with chips in it. Everything is moving towards more of electronic technology. Therefore, they can keep control. My wife, we were doing Apple Pay, and I was showing her Apple Pay, and she got scared. Well, I'm so nervous about putting all my information on the phone and I don't trust them with my info. And I had to quickly remind her, boo, who do you think gave you the card? Who gives you that little identification number on the back? The security code, the CVC code, whatever they call it. They give you those codes. So if I give you the code, don't I already control the technology? So it's like this myth that they can't wipe out your bank account whenever they feel like it. Of course they can. They the one who gave you the information to begin with. They give you the codes. They give you the numbers. So if they give you the codes and the numbers, they already control it. So they've always kept a control over the economic system here in America and around the rest of the world. So Trump's job is to pretty much to stabilize that. And he does that with this whole scripted tax thing of putting all these tax on things that come from China to America. The majority of stuff we get comes from China or Japan. Those are two countries that export a lot of goods to Americans. We are the number one consumers in the world. We no longer create anything. It used to be a time where we were exporting everything. Now we've turned into the import of everything. We import cars, we import TVs, we import food, we import everything. Some things we don't even need to be importing, we import. And the funny thing about Trump is he puts a tax on things that are going to be imported back in, yet he has several of his products that are made in China. That's the hypocrisy. Several of Donald Trump's products are made in China. They're not made in America. Many of his products that he sells, which nobody really buys, are made in China. So he's going to put an import on goods that he sells that come back into America that Americans might purchase. He'll put an import tax on those, which in turn hurt his own people. But think about all the stuff that's imported in, that's made here, goes to China and comes back. Now the American people had to pay a higher amount for these products, while the companies that are making money off of it continue to flourish and continue to make gains. So the whole thing is just a hustle to get more money out of us. It's to get us to pay more taxes. Because the whole thing about taxation without representation was the biggest lie that was sold to the American. This idea that you'll be represented for all the taxes that you pay, and we won't tax you without you having to say so. It's bullshit. They just found a different ways of taxing us and getting over. And this is just another way of increasing taxes on the things you buy. Go sometime, look at movies, make sure you're watching and paying attention. Mr. Mom is a good movie. Go watch Mr. Mom and watch the store scene. When he goes into the store, I want you to look at the prices. Check the year and look at the prices of the items back then when Mr. Mom came out, how much they were paying for certain things. And the question is, why are you paying more for things that pretty much are the same items? Why this increase in the amount for these products? And the lie will be, well, over the years with manufacturing, it makes it more harder to make the product. But I thought technology made things easier. Now we flip it with the hypocrisy. Well, technology makes stuff easier, but it's more expensive to produce things with the new technology. Get the fuck out of here. But this is the hustle. I told my friend this Saturday, and this is the problem with Americans. We don't stand up for anything. We don't say anything about anything. And until we start speaking up and going back into those times with no taxation without representation and saying something about the thing that was the basis of the Constitution, they don't have to listen to us. They don't have to listen to us. The minute you try to say something to an American or anybody in the world about being mistreated by the government, the first thing they say is, well, that's just how it is, and this is the greatest country in the world, and people got it worse than us, yada yada yada, and you can't do nothing about it. These are the things you hear. Things we can do. Begin to vote. But back candidates who are saying something that makes sense. Truthfully, I wasn't a big fan of my man that ran for president. I forget the guy's name. That's how, the presidency really is not interesting at all to me. But he should have been the president. A lot of people liked what he was talking about. What's the guy's name? It's fading my mind right now. But he should have been the president. A lot of people liked what he was talking about, but nobody would back him, because the first thing they did was got everybody hooked on the Trump hype. And Trump was nothing but TV. He was interested in TV. They was able to sell to the minds of the American people. Trump got up there and said a bunch of stupid shit about how he wasn't down with the establishment when he been spending money with them and taking them to dinners and sex parties for years, and they ate it up. Now Bernie Sanders, that's what I'm thinking about. But when Bernie Sanders came out and said, hey, we need to do it a certain way, nobody wanted to back him. But that's Americans. That's typical American. They backed Hillary, knowing Hillary wasn't really talking about nothing. But that's Americans. That's Americans. And now we're pretty much being groomed for the first woman president, which we should have had years ago. This is the only country that won't back a woman leader. And it's because of the people. It's not because of the Congress. It's because of the people. It's because of, I'm going to say it right now, it's because of white women won't back their own kind. White women sit there and they defend the foolishness of the white man. And that's always been the problem. They know their man wrong, but instead of saying their man is wrong, they going back to foolishness. He ain't out molesting on the daughter. Oh, but the problems he's having at work, and she'll go defend a molester, act like it's not going on. And black women do this too. But if you go to the history of African Americans and Africans in general, look how many leaders we've had that have been women. And I'm not going to say all Caucasian culture is guilty of this, because Europeans have backed women leaders for a long period of time. But in America, the American white man has been able to act and do whatever the fuck he wanted to do. Not knocking my Caucasian brothers that subscribe, but this has been the truth for a long period of time. That the white woman has not said anything about the behavior of her man in this country. He's treated her like shit and gotten away with it. And that needs to stop. But the only way that stops is not by women turning into men, but by women standing up for themselves. African-American women in America have been doing this for centuries. They had to do this. They had to hold things together. They had to hold the family together. They had to be leaders. They had to get businesses. We talked about this. But, you know, they ain't never been the type to take no shit. Caucasian women take shit, act like ain't nothing happening. Husband busting them all upside the head. He act like it ain't going on. Instead of standing up for themselves and being one when it comes to getting something accomplished, getting something passed. That's the only way it's going to work. Remember, women, there's more of y'all than us right now. There's more women in the world than men. So y'all got us outnumbered. If y'all want the power at any time, y'all can take it, but y'all got to be together to take it. So, a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. I'm going a little bit over with this video. I need to shut it off. But tariff shit, just a lot of bullshit to kind of get the global economy started. Mr. Mikey, Back Row Ministry, peace.